Live, checking connection, live. Okay, hey everybody, it's Tuesday, and it's the morning, and it's that time again when we talk about traffic for an hour on social media. Yes, the magical
Invert
place. Oh, I haven't
TikTok.
turned on the switch for Instagram. Instagram had no audio. Now it has audio. And let's see. Okay, it looks like we got audio everywhere. Hopefully, Q is in the house checking our connections, making sure the audio is all, nice and stuff.
Audio's
And
good. TikTok needs to be inverted.
oh, TikTok needs to be inverted. You know what? I'm off my game today. Mind you, at 9:01 when I realized I hadn't pressed go, I was busy typing emails and stuff. I had a visitor. Check out my Instagram. I had a visitor in the office today. A couple of folks came in from 53 Division to grab some stuff and said, "Hey, you're that guy from TikTok," and we started chatting. And turns out their social media, or at least one of them, is a social media officer as well, a former auxiliary, just like myself. And it was awesome to meet him in person and discuss life, the universe, and everything. Um, let's see here. I need to check that out. Okay. So, good morning to Big Jeff Fresh and Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony being the first person to say hello on YouTube. He beat you, Big Jeff Fresh. You didn't. It wasn't you today. Uh, and Canadians 8 wants to congratulate us for 200,000 followers. Congratulations to us. Yes, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who follows and supports and is involved with what we're doing here. It is so awesome to be able to spend time with you in this way on these platforms, answering your questions. We get a lot out of it. We hope you do too. And for any of the 100 and some odd people in the TikTok, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and we just hit 200,000 followers last night. It's super cool. Yeah, really excited about that. Thanks, Canadian Aid. Now, Canadians, I have to emphasize the end there. Let's see here. Oh, okay. We're jumping right into question. Actually, no, we got a Louis C with good morning. Good morning to you, my friend. Now, we have a lot of regulars, a lot of folks who come in each and every morning, and a special shout out to you guys and gals and folks. It's amazing. We've really got, great people who spend time with us every single day. We've got, you know, you're part of the fam. It's really cool. Okay. Roger Captain wants to know, does it work to dial 112 instead of 911 EU number? If you are in Canada, and mostly, I think it's all of the United States, 911. No, 112 should not work. I don't imagine it would. That is only in your jurisdiction. It's the number that works for you, but does not work here. If you're here, 911 is the number. Okay. Good blessed Tuesday morning to everyone. That's from Neon. Wants to send a hello. Jaspreet wants to know, can you do a collaboration with someone from the fire department? That's actually not a bad idea. We're always looking to do collabs and stuff. We're going to be breaking out and doing a lot of cool stuff, and it's just a matter of trying to find time to do everything that we do. We're writing a pretty busy schedule as it stands, but we want to do more. 250 people in the room. Some of them are new. Some of them don't know who we are. So my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media talking about traffic and police and answering your questions. If you've got a question, please drop it in the Q&A. At least the Q&A, if you are on TikTok or Instagram, you can throw it into the Q&A, and I will see it. If you don't throw it in the Q&A, it's going to be in the chat. If it goes into the chat, I may not see it. Our moderators, however, might. They may be able to answer. So if you ask in the chat, expect that it'll be answered in the chat by a moderator. They are not police officers. They are volunteers. They are truly just helping out, and we really appreciate them for that. If you want me to see it, you might be waiting in line, but drop it in the Q&A, and I'll do my best to get to everybody. Okay. Question from Merrill 38. Can you go over the speed limit if at traffic speed? I don't know what that, it got cut off. But the question I assume is, can you go over the speed limit if everybody else is going over the speed limit? Going over that whole keeping up with the flow of traffic that everyone's learned so well. No, you can't. It's not a mob thing. If everyone's speeding, you can't do it. If everyone's jumping off the CN Tower, you can't do it. At least you shouldn't do it. You're not allowed to speed. The limit is the limit is the limit. There's no special permission if everybody else is doing it too. You're eligible for a ticket. You need to know that. Do what you're going to do. I'm not going to tell you can't do something. You can do whatever you want. Just know that if you get caught, you're going to get charged. And depending on how fast you're going, you might lose your car for 14 days. You might lose your license for 30. That's stunt driving. That's if you go 50 kilometers over the posted limit, if it's a speed limit over 80, and if it's under 80, so if you're in a 60 zone, for instance, you only need to go 40 over to be stunt driving. That's not to say that this is a goal. You don't want to be getting these tickets. They come with heavy consequences. Okay, 334 people, 336 people. Hey, double tap the screen, show that you like us. Tells everybody else on TikTok they should be here too, because this is the place to be. Okay. Question from Harmon Garea wants to know if we customize our car with a turbo, is that legal? It is not illegal as long as it's done and a mechanic's putting it in or you're putting it in, it still passes safety and emissions. You're good to go. Not illegal to have a turbo. Cars can come with it stock or you can do it aftermarket. You're still cool. And for anyone who doesn't already follow us, please follow us. We do this every day. I'm in the office Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the moment. And we go live answering your traffic and police questions. If you've got stuff you want to know, this is the place to ask. And as Q, who may be in your ear shortly, but she's not in your ear. She's giving us a silent treatment this morning. She wants 250,000.
What? No. Who gave who the silent treatment this
Yes,
morning?
I may have forgotten to plug in my headset and I was ignoring Q. My headset is now plugged in. I can hear her, as can you. But yeah, Q, you want to go to 250,000 followers by Christmas. We originally said 200,000 by Christmas, and then we hit it like in a week. So new stretch goal. We'd like to hit 250,000 by Christmas. And that way, Q says she's going to retire. I don't know if she's really going to retire. I think she's just threatening it to give me stress.
I don't do that, but you drink. If you guys could actually hit a follow button on the Toronto Police for tomorrow, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, if you can hit it for today so that tomorrow. So here's the deal. Here's the big secret that isn't a secret is that the Toronto Police Chief, James Raymer, is going to be on TikTok with me tomorrow. Well, he's going to be on all the platforms with me tomorrow. But the fact is, the Toronto Police Chief, the big boss, is going to be here talking to us, talking to you. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. It may not have the exact same format as today, but it's going to certainly be an experience. And yeah, Instagram can hear you too. At least I should be able to hear you. It's amazing. This is really a show of the a show. It's a show. It's a indication of the success that we're having here. That the chief wants to come out and spend time with all of you, and I think that's pretty amazing. So let's get on to questions because you got stuff. Angelo Topping says water. I had water. Tinto Tozy says in Kentucky cars were going 160 kilometers plus. Could not even stay at the speed limit. Too dangerous. That's I don't know what the story is in Kentucky, but that does sound quite scary. I wonder what the actual speed limit was. I've driven on the Autobahn too, and I couldn't. I was in a Renault hatchback. There was no way I was keeping up with the speeds of those vehicles. So is it safe? Is it dangerous? That's a good question. People always say, well, it's the slow people who are dangerous. They're the ones that are, we have to go around. Well, if you're going to exceed the speed limit, and I'm not suggesting or condoning it because you aren't legally allowed to, stay to the left. And if you can't go fast, slow down. You shouldn't be speeding and you're eligible for a ticket, but don't be ticking or, moving around traffic and making unsafe maneuvers because you're going to get caught and you're going to get charged. Let's see here. Okay. Can we please remind everybody not to spam? Yes, please. Will is asking. He's one of our moderators. Please do not spam the chat. Ask it once, don't ask it twice. We will get to it. But if you ask it many times, you're going to get muted. We're going to delete your question. You'll never be heard from. And it's just the way it is. We want to keep it classy, and our moderators are doing their best to do that. Why can electric bicycles be on the road, but non-electric scooters? Okay, so here's the deal. An e-bike, an electric bicycle that falls under the category of e-bike, is one that is maxed out at 32 kilometers an hour, that is constructed in such a way that it meets the law. It's got a piece of legislation that says if you do this, it's an e-bike. If it wasn't for that piece of paper or that legislation, it would be a motor vehicle requiring license, ownership, and insurance because it would meet, and it does meet, the qualifications for motor vehicle. Okay, so we have an electric bicycle. It meets the guidelines. It's an e-bike, and it passed, and it's now law. You can have an e-bike. Well, they did the same thing, sort of. It's a pilot project for e-kick scooters. And I think that's what you're referring to when you say electric scooters. Those are the basically handlebar with a large or a long, what is it called? the heck is it called? A triple tree? I don't know what the terminology is on scooter talk, but it's effectively got a platform and two small tires. Well, they went and did a study. Uh, the government, ultimately, the Ontario government said, we're going to put a pilot in place that if it meets certain criteria, we'll make them legal, but we're going to make it up to the municipality as to whether or not they can have them in their city. So Mississauga said, yeah, we can let e-kick scooters that meet the guidelines be in our city. Toronto uh, went and looked at it and said, no, we're not going to let them in our city because they're dangerous. And every city that has put them in place across the planet that we've researched has had increase in hospital visits directly related to the use of these e-scooters. There's other things at play, but that's one of the main reasons. And they said, no, not in our city. So if you use them here, you can get a ticket for $60. You can't use them in on our roads or sidewalks or in our parks. That's e-kick scooters. In fact, if you modify an e-kick scooter and put a seat on it, that's an electric motorcycle suddenly, and you are eligible for all the wonderful fines of requiring license, ownership, and insurance. It's a bad day at the office. So beyond that, I think I've covered your question, but we're going to move on. But I think that's it. Now, mobility scooters was a question that was brought up as well. Q asked me to touch on it, and mobility scooters are not bicycles, and they're not e-kick scooters. They are medical devices for getting people around. Oddly enough, you can still be charged for impaired operation under the criminal code for using a mobility scooter while under the influence of alcohol or drugs for that matter. Now, you can't really you can use them at low speeds because they go low speeds. They're for moving people around. You don't park them on the street, and they should be on the sidewalk, not on the road. But I've seen people on the road. Apparently somebody is advertising in the chat. Please don't use the chat here to try and promote yourself. This is here so you can, ask questions and get answers, but not use it as a source of self promotion. 541 people in the room. This is awesome. Welcome to our channel. My name is Sean Shapiro. I work for the Toronto Police Service, and I am, in fact, a police officer. I work for Traffic Services, which is our citywide traffic unit, and I work specifically in the Traffic Safety Programs Office. What I do is I work with our unit to develop training programs and education programs to serve our city and our police officers about things that deal with traffic and safety and the law. And my whole goal here, my reason for being, is to try and take the complexities of the Highway Traffic Act and make it easy to understand. If there's questions, I will help you get the answer you need. And ultimately, I want you to know what the rules are. So if you choose to break them, you at least know what the consequences are, and hopefully you'll choose not to break them because you don't want to get the wonderful tickets that come with these things. But yeah, that's what we're here for. Ask your questions. We'll give you some answers. We have a whole bunch of people here, so please be patient. Please don't spam the chats. We are currently broadcasting on Instagram Live, our primary being TikTok Live. We're also currently visible or viewable on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, and Facebook. So we're on all of these things simultaneously. Also, something to know, tomorrow, 10:15 in the morning, we will be live with Chief James Raymer, Chief of the Toronto Police, is going to be on TikTok, not on Instagram Live. I don't have enough telephones. He's got to use this telephone to be on on TikTok with me, and he's going to be on all the social media platforms. And it's going to be cool. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things, talking about traffic safety, talking about actually, we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, we'll get some questions that we can answer, and it's going to be a cool, quick 30 to 45-minute episode. But we won't be doing our regular live tomorrow. So get your questions in today and hit that follow. If you don't already follow us, please do. And also hit the follow on the Toronto Police account, which has 0 videos right now. It's not suspicious. It's a verified account, but we want the chief to use that account if we can. They only have about 500 or 280 followers right now. So if you can help us get to 1,000, that would be awesome. In fact, if everybody in this room went and followed the Toronto Police, you would be able to make it possible for the chief to use that account and not my account, which is VoiceOver Cop. If you want to follow me, my account is VoiceOver Cop, and you can follow me there on all social media platforms. In fact, I'm there on traffic. Sorry, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram as the VoiceOver Cop. Just VoiceOver Cop. Okay, going back into it, I want to make sure we get questions here. Are Koenigsegg's, I can't even pronounce that probably. Koenigsegg, I think I said it right. Regara are legal in Ontario. I have no idea, because as much as I love cars, I couldn't tell you all of the brands from that or all of the models from that brand. I don't know if it's legal or not. I'd have to look it up and look into it. But you know what? Fancy cars make it all over the place. So maybe not. I'll look into it. We'll have to talk about it again later. What about removal for kids in front seat? Oh, airbag. So, okay, airbags in front seats. Can you put a kid in the front seat in a child restraint? It's a question I get all the time. Yeah, there's no ticket for it, but is it safe? Now, I understand there's regulations according to one of our auxiliary officers who happens to be a certified car seat installer. They say you have to get your airbag removed and it costs $3,000 to do it, and it's a big thing. My suggestion is back seat only if you can. Front seat if you absolutely have to. We don't lay charges for front seat that I'm aware of, but it's not safe. And it's not the best bet. Kids are the most important thing, so save the kids. And if they're out of the car seat, back seat until 14. I know it's an unpopular answer, but it's bone development, not height or weight. And it's a suggestion, not law. Law says 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9". Going into questions other than kids in car seats. How long to receive a court date for speeding? Generally, it's pretty quick. It's not something that takes forever, but we happen to be we're dealing with a worldwide pandemic right now, still in a situation where things are being delayed. So I don't have a date or a time frame normally, but generally speaking, you're supposed to hit court within a year. Obviously, that has not been happening, and it's taking longer. Okay. Do cops show up in court even for speeding tickets? Absolutely. We are paid to, and it is our obligation to. Um, let's see here. Question from Merrill says, why can't I send gifts on TikTok? Great question. We're the police and we don't accept gifts. So we asked TikTok to graciously turn off that feature for us. We did have it on for a long time because we couldn't figure out how to turn it off. We did receive about $80 in TikTok gifts, which we put for charity. Originally it was Sick Kids, and then we were splitting it up between Sick Kids and Special Olympics Ontario. We are trying to get Special Olympics Ontario on board to be a registered charity with TikTok. Unfortunately, they're taking some time. I don't know what the delays are, but they have not been approved yet to be an official charity on the platform, even though we've asked. So we'll see what happens. Don't know what's happening right now. Okay, I need water, and going to take off that question here. What's going on? Nothing happening in YouTube. I see conversation, but it's not stuff that's new. Uh, The Regera is a historical car. It's the only model that's legal in Ontario currently. Oh, well, there you go. Q just gave me the answer. That was in question in regards to the Koenigsegg. Is that the proper pronunciation? Am I just making a mess of this brand? I don't know. Do you take people's radar detectors? Absolutely, we take them. We seize them because under the Highway Traffic Act in Ontario, we have search and seizure authority for the purposes of radar detectors and jammers for that matter. And at the same time, if we suspect that it's there, we can search your vehicle with full authority for that. And again, we not only charge you the $170, I think there's 3 demerit points, and take your detector. You can't even transport it, not in use. You can't have it in your vehicle. The only time in Ontario you can have a radar detector or a jammer in your vehicle is when it's sealed from factory, being exported out of the province. That's the only time. So, yeah, we take them. Why aren't Nissan Skylines legal? Well, they're legal if they're 15 years and you're being imported after the 15-year mark. Beyond that, they're not sold in Canada. I don't know why they're not. I don't know if it's because they're right-hand drive, and I think might be the only way you can get them imported is through that loophole of waiting 15 years. Um, is it illegal? Sorry, is it legal to ask out a cop or ask for their Instagram? It's not. It's not illegal, so I guess it's legal to do that. That's funny. Okay, can we call if an ice is on the street? And what is this? Can we call if an ice is on street EV char? I don't know what this question is. I don't know if ICE is an acronym. If you're actually talking about ICE, I'll come back to this. Someone tell me what you're talking about. Okay. Hey, everyone. Just wanted to say have a good day. Thanks very much, Officer Kane, one of our moderators and friends who's an officer elsewhere, but much appreciated. And thanks for the message. Can you
You
ask?
drink?
Okay, I'm drinking.
Okay. Do you have suggestions for people passing snowplows?
Don't pass snowplows. That is the suggestion. It's unsafe. The road in front is not being treated, has not been plowed. Big plows can cause big damage, and they have a job to do. So you're not supposed to pass snowplows. Ask any snowplow operator. You are the cause of a great deal of stress for them if you are trying to pass them. Either leave earlier so you beat them, or wait patiently behind them. Question from Illstakes says, can you ask for proof of radar calibration? You can in court, not at the side of the road. At the side of the road, you get your ticket and move on with your day. In terms of in court, you can ask for what's called disclosure. Disclosure is everything that the case is against you. Now, proof of calibration, I can tell you that we don't calibrate. The police officers don't calibrate. We check to make sure that they're accurate. Calibration is done by manufacturers and specialists, not police officers. So if you're looking to find out if we calibrated it, I can tell you unilaterally, police officers don't calibrate, period. Okay. If you, let me just, I saw some. Oh, Big Jeff Fresh was just saying ICE is often used as a short form for in case of emergency. And I'm actually familiar with that one, Jeff. Thank you. But I thought this was in a different context. I didn't think that was the direction we were going because it was on the road. So I don't know what. I still need more information. But yeah, ICE is good, and people actually save contacts as ICE. Mind you, if you have an iPhone, you can actually create emergency contacts, and it does it automatically. Hit that emergency, and you have people that can be called on your behalf. It's a really cool feature, and I imagine other phones have that too. But back in the prehistoric times of like flip phones, I mean, like the original flip phone from Motorola, people used to put ICE as an entry in their phone book. Let's see here. What happens if I skip court? Okay, depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about skipping court for actual traffic court or criminal court, which definitely not a good idea to skip. In any case, if you skip court, there's two things that'll happen. One, they may simply say that in your absence, you've been found guilty. Effectively, you don't show up, so you're not opposing it, and therefore the charge will stand. They'll put a conviction in your absence. If it's a serious charge, if it's a criminal charge, they may have a trial in your absence. Sounds crazy, right? Not crazy. It happens all the time. Now, generally speaking, they make efforts to get you there first, and if they simply have no chance of, now this is for criminal, don't have an opportunity to get a hold of you. They've tried and tried and tried, and they put a warrant out for your arrest, for the court appearance, and you still don't. They'll just do the court trial without you, which is not a good thing for you because it's kind of important to put your defense out. Now, when you're talking about traffic court, there's none of that going to happen. Generally, not going to happen unless it's very serious charges where they have a trial in your absence. It has happened. Most of the time, it's just you're guilty, and that's it. So don't skip your court. And if you are found guilty and you had a good excuse, but you couldn't get there, and something happened, you can always apply to a justice of the peace to reopen your case. Reopening, you have to apply for it and generally be interviewed, justify, state your case. Okay. Can you help a friend who broke down on the highway? What do you mean? Like you're gonna like turn the what do you call it, the jack, to pump the jack up to get his tire? What do you mean by help? Yeah, you can help your friends, but what are you gonna do? What is the contact? I need more. Who's your witness when giving a ticket? I don't know what you're talking about. I am issuing a ticket. I sign that I issued it, and that's all that's needed. I don't need to go find a witness. Okay. Okay. Question from the chat. It's as a police foundation graduate wants to know what the next step is to become a bylaw officer. Sorry, bylaw police officer. Well, a police officer can issue bylaw tickets, but is not a bylaw police officer. Bylaw officers are employed by the city directly, and police officers are employed by the municipal policing agency, and so it's different. You want to be a police officer, you can apply to a police force or a police service. If you want to become a bylaw officer, you can apply to a city that's posting. So City of Toronto, toronto.ca would likely have jobs listed for that. Let's see here. How much do I go over the speed limit before a ticket in Saskatchewan? I have no idea. and I assume it's going to be the same as Ontario, which is anytime you are speeding, even 1 kilometer an hour over the limit, you have to know that you're eligible. Doesn't mean you're going to get a ticket, but you need to know that you could get a ticket and that you're taking a risk. Why take a risk? Just do the speed limit or go below it. It's not illegal to go below the speed limit. It is illegal to go above it. Dory is a suggestion that I should reset the room. 300 people in the room. You may not all know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on pretty much all the social media platforms, and I answer your traffic and police questions. This is where we do it every day, Monday to Friday, currently 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We keep experimenting and talking about doing afternoons, but my shift is 6 a.m. till 2 p.m. It's an 8-hour day, and in that time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. seems to be the most appropriate time to go live. Let me know if you think that's not the case, you think it should be a different time, you let me know. Okay. Safety concerns with undercover stops. Well, undercover and stops doesn't generally go together. Generally speaking, uniformed officers, in whether their car is marked or unmarked, is what's used in stops. So we have a what's called a Vision Zero enforcement team. It's a full-time team of dedicated officers who focus on the big four. That's serious. That's driving behaviors that lead to serious injury and death. Those are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those officers have the choice, or we have a fleet that has some unmarked and some marked. So you may get either or, but they're uniformed officers with full lighting package on their vehicle. Now, if you mean safety concerns like, I don't know if this is really a police officer, what should I do? You can always pull over because you see lights and sirens, pull over. You don't have to get out of the car. You can roll down the window a little bit and say, hey, I don't know if you're a real police officer. I'm going to call the police and confirm. And guess what? Our dispatch knows where you are because they know where they are. If they don't know where they are, then you got a reason to not believe. But if they've put that over, they're going to know. Now, why are you suspicious? Is it just because the car doesn't have stickers? Chances are you won't even be able to see that when you're being pulled over. A marked vehicle and an unmarked vehicle generally look the same for the purposes of being in the car. There's not much of a difference. Most of the markings are on the side. Anyway, we have Corowina says ICE, internal combustion engine, another acronym. Interesting. I don't know what the context of that question is anymore. What is this? Would you make what? A Devil 16. I don't know what a Devil 16 is. Is that a Dodge something? Uh, do juvenile charges drop when you are 18? Your juvenile record gets sealed, and it's not. I can't. It's been a long time since I've dealt with the youth criminal justice. But my understanding is when you're 18, you still have it, and under certain circumstances it can be opened. But for the most part, it's not available. It's not that they drop or they go away; they're just sealed. Uh, can I drive across the border with a G2? Yes, you can. You can drive anywhere, but you have to conform and follow the conditions that you have as part of your license. Okay. Do you have to yield in a zipper merge? Well, zipper merge is a technique or a suggestion. It's not law that one must zipper. The person who has the lane owns the lane. You're not forced to let people in. And people who push their way in may cause collisions. And when they cause collisions, they may actually be responsible for those collisions because they caused them. Now, courtesy suggests you should let people in, but not everybody's courteous. If someone's being how do I say this nicely? I won't say it nicely. I won't say it at all. If someone's not being nice and not letting you in, not being courteous, give it a pause. The next person will probably be kinder to you. People mistake 100 kilometers an hour for 100 miles per hour. It does happen on occasion when people are visiting from the United States, but that's not a good excuse for people who are Canadians driving with Ontario licenses and doing their speeding with the excuse of, I thought suddenly we were transplanted to the United States. Okay. Is there a difference between the OPP and the York Regional Police? YRP is York Regional Police. They are municipal policing partners to the north of the city of Toronto, and they're much like the Toronto Police. They just handle municipal policing north of us. Ontario Provincial Police is just that. It's a provincial police agency. They do in Toronto, in the GTA, they handle highways only, but outside of the GTA, they are actually responsible in some cases for municipal policing as well. They do many different things. Okay. Can you get pulled over for going too slow on the road? Yes, there's a charge called unnecessary slow driving. You can be charged with it. And what does it mean? It means that if you're impeding traffic, if you're for no reason, for no justifiable reason, going too slow. But here's the thing: what's too slow? Is 20 kilometers under the speed limit too slow? Maybe, maybe not. It's going to be depending on the discretion of the officer who is making the observations. It is not a law that you must do the limit. The limit is the limit. The problem is so many people have just thrown it out the window and said the limit is the minimum, and now we're going to go above the limit and make stories and justifications as to why it's safe when it's not. Did you have did you have an officer partner? Yes, Brandon in the I guess for about 6 months I had Brandon in the office. He was upstairs here training in the media office in traffic safety programs, and he has since gone back to the road. And as Q says, now I'm stuck with her. But it's not a problem being stuck with Q. Q was part of the game. Actually, she came on after Brandon was already in the office, but she's volunteering, as are many of our moderators who are helping to make this channel and this live possible. But we hope to have another officer to come through another 6-month training position. When you become a police officer, you never stop training. So you get on, you do your Ontario Provincial Police College, or Ontario Police College, I should say. You go and graduate that. We have our pre and post Elmer, which is done by the Toronto Police College, and we have 10 weeks of in-car with a coach officer training that happens once you get graduate and you get your badge and your gun and you go off and decide to, or enabled to deal with the public, being allowed to help. Well, that's just the beginning. That's the starting point. You have to have different, what we call ticks, or opportunities for training and development, and they involve working in the Criminal Investigation Bureau, the Detective Office, the CIB. That's something you do for 6 months to get a tick, a check mark beside your name saying you've done it. Uh, One of the things that we do is development in terms of community or crew tick, which is community. What is crew? Uh, my acronyms are out the window right now. Community relation. I can't remember what it's called now. I can't believe I can't remember what the crew is called. I'm so used to the acronym that I can't think of the actual word. Oh, here I was hoping that somebody was going to say, "I know what it is." Okay, yeah, I'm having a seniors moment. I'm not supposed. Maybe I'm not having a seniors moment. Maybe I'm just having a Sean moment, yeah, words escape me on occasion, and it's not like I don't talk on a regular basis. I speak continuously, as you may have noticed, and yet still words seem to escape me. Okay, do you drive an Interceptor or Pursuit rated vehicle? So we do have. Police versions of vehicles. Pursuit, they used to, so our Crown Victorias had Interceptor on them. I don't know if that meant that they were intended to go faster. They have a heavy duty suspension, heavy duty coolant system. They're meant to be driven all day long. And my hearing are ringing. I think someone's telephone's ringing. Interesting. In any case, yeah, all of our vehicles are pursuit rated, I guess. They do that Michigan test and publish the results every year, and then we buy police cars, and then we make them our police cars by putting all our equipment in them. How come cars can go much faster than speed limits? You know what? I get a bag of chips on occasion because I like chips, and I can eat the whole bag or I can eat just a few. And yeah, it's not. It's there's individual choice. Um, Performance cars get built because they can. There's no regulation as to how fast they can go, but you're still responsible as a driver. So I don't disagree. I think in some cases maybe we should have a switch that says if you're on the road, the maximum is 100. The GPS knows where you are. Your vehicle is going to go maximum 100. I think that could definitely solve our problems right up until the time someone hacks it and figures out a way to go faster. Pro Football Craze says, when speed limits change, is it mandatory that there is begin signs along the bottom of the speed limit sign? You know what? I don't know if it's mandatory or how that works. When you're going through areas of Toronto and you're constantly going through changes, actually in the country as well, you do see that sign that says the speed limit change, and then it says begins, and that's the line delineating the change in speed. So you know exactly when it starts. I don't know if it's regulated or in what state situations it's required, but I do see them often, and I don't have a good answer for your question. Whatever the sign is, follow it. But now I got to go look it up. But Pro Football Craze, thanks for the question. It's going to create a conversation with my training sergeant today. We'll have a great chat over coffee and figure out exactly when and where those signs are required. And I'll know for next time, since I know you'll be back again. We'll talk about this again. Akela Dracona says, "Good day, I'm late. Let's do this." And we are doing this. And we've been doing this. It's 9:35 just as a check-in. And for anyone who's new to any of the channels that you're watching, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I am here on the platforms that you're watching me on Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we do this thing where we answer your traffic and police questions. And if you aren't already following us, please do. And for TikTok, please double tap that screen and show that you like us. We've got 4,300 likes so far, and they mean nothing other than to let other people on TikTok know that we're doing something that you approve of. It helps to bring more people in, get us in front of more eyes. I believe the same thing is on Instagram. However, if you really wanted an indication as to what kind of difference we have with our 200,000 followers on TikTok, and we had like 600 plus people in the room earlier. We have 6 people on Instagram, and we have about 3,500 followers. I think maybe 3,800. I haven't looked recently. In any case, it's very different. It's very interesting to see how the algorithm and how information is shared in terms of social media to get your word out. We're experimenting with Instagram. Do you think we should keep doing it on Instagram? Hey, bring more people in here. It'll solidify your connection to Instagram. I'm kidding. No obligation. Just hit that button a lot. Uh, how is Brandon doing, by the way? This is the Safe Driver. That's Scott Marshall. He's the Safe Driver. He's a blogger. He is a TikToker, very funny one at that. He is a podcaster. He has the Speed Bumps podcast, which I listen to regularly. And Safe Driver, we got to talk about when we can chat, because you spoke about something on your last episode. It triggered some thoughts. I'm like, I got to make a video about this, but I'd love to do it with you. We need to collaborate. Maybe we should go live together. We'll talk. Okay. Light bar on back roads illegal. So technically speaking, you can have no more than 4 headlights facing forward, 4 projector bulbs with a 300 plus or with more than 300 candela of brightness. That's the maximum you can have. Now, what light bars that are off-road use are really for off-road, so you're not supposed to use them. Now, if you're not interfering with any other vehicles, I bet you won't have a problem, but it's not legal necessarily. They're not directed in such a way. They're blinding for oncoming traffic. So if you're using high beams, it would be the same situation. You can't high beam someone. Those off-road bars are really not. They're really not. What was this? I see 8. What are we talking about, Q? Okay.
I
Can I?
see 8 of you across the different platforms.
Oh, because you're logged into all of them. Oh my goodness. Question from Adam Wolf: Can I record people in public, personal use, nonprofit? So, if you are in a public space, there is no reasonable prospect for privacy. So, if I'm walking down the street, yeah, I'm eligible to be photographed, and if you're not using that for commercial purposes, and they're not the focus of a shot, even if it was the if they're not the focus of a shot, you might be able to use it commercially. But if you're just taking pictures in the public, now if you're following somebody around and taking their picture against their will, they're really not happy with you. That's a whole different situation. But simply taking a picture where people appear in it, yeah, you can't take pictures in public, and it gets really hairy when you talk about private property. So if you're standing on public property and they're visible from the public property, technically they're fair game. I happen to be a photographer as well, and I used to take a lot of street photography, and I've looked into this, but it is always good to get your own independent legal advice when it comes to things like this, because I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm saying. You can't follow people around and harass them, but if they happen to be in the background of your shot, and always best to get their permission as well. Oddly enough, apparently it's illegal to sell pictures of the Eiffel Tower. Something I was in the Eiffel Tower, but I've never taken pictures of it. Oh, with the lights on. Interesting. I don't
Yeah,
know how
the
that would
lights
work.
are deemed artistic, and you can't sell it.
Interesting. I will prevent myself from taking iPhone shots of the Eiffel Tower. I don't know about you guys, but I don't take my big camera out anymore. In fact, my Canon SLR, at least my second best Canon SLR, is sitting on a magic arm facing me, and I'm currently broadcasting using it as a webcam. I have like a $2,000 webcam because I don't bring my camera out anymore. So I've just repurposed it as a webcam. And do you guys use something other than your phones? Do you still own a camera, a real camera, other than a GoPro? GoPro is an action cam; it's a different thing. Q says she does. How about everybody else? Do you have cameras, or is it just your phone does everything? Because I love my iPhone, and I'm just saying, because I have 3 of them. I have 2 company iPhones, and I have a personal iPhone. I like them. Okay, let's look here. Bought an ex-cop car. Are lights legal for shows? So you can't have red lights installed. If you're going to have a private car and you have a light bar on it, you should cover up and say not in service. You're going to have problems if you have a vehicle that looks like a police car, especially with recent events in the world where people have impersonated police officers. If it's removable, I suggest removing it. But if you're in a show and it's specifically for that purpose, like you look at movie cars, they'll very often trailer or take the light bars off for transportation. But yeah, you don't want to be on the road with something that resembles a police car. You're looking for trouble.
Are
Let's
you
see.
a cop
Am I a
or are you
cop?
a radio guy?
I am a radio cop. My handle is voiceover cop. I happen to have a microphone in front of me, but I am a police officer. Someone last night was making comments saying, "I bet people would like to know that you're not really a cop." I am a cop. I have a badge. I somewhere I have a gun, but I haven't been using it lately because I sit here in front of TikTok. I have no need. Let's see here. But yes, I am a police officer, so it's always funny. People want to know about the epaulets I'm wearing. I'm wearing camouflage epaulets. Is a digital camo. So these epaulets are because I support the military veterans and veterans. Not that I support them by way of any. Well, I was going to make a joke, but it's no joke. I support them. I feel very strongly about the military. I appreciate that the sacrifices that our military makes and have made in the past, and the Toronto Police Military Veterans Association, in cooperation with the Canadian Armed Forces, designed this epaulette. And our chief of police, James Raymer, who's going to be on our show tomorrow. By the way, he's going to be on TikTok tomorrow. He's going to be on YouTube tomorrow. He authorized the wearing of these epaulets for the month of November to show support. We also bought these out of our own money. And as a result, the service or the Military Veterans Association raised over $20,000 to fund veterans. Services in the city of Toronto. I don't know what services specifically, but it's to go to veterans services in the city of Toronto.
Speaking
So
of services, there's
yeah,
someone in chat that is asking you, where is the social worker?
the social worker. We
Safe
are not them.
communities.
This is not them. I am. Let's back up. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer for the Toronto Police. Safe Communities is an RCM detachment in British Columbia. They have a social worker, but I do not have one. They're great people. We're friends, but they're a different channel. Do you think do we need a social worker to just to even the odds, make it? We're not competing with anybody. Okay. Uh, let's see here. Now, Shebel says, I drive a black Dodge Durango. When I drive, people think I'm a police officer. They slow down, makes me laugh and happy. You know what? You're doing great work. If you're unintentionally being misidentified as a police officer, and this is your assumption, and they're slowing down, then it's great. We should have more people who people slow down for. It's that's funny. Guilty consciences. Did I say BC? I meant Alberta.
Yeah.
Brooks, Alberta. I said BC. You know why? Because people keep asking me if there's going to be somebody in BC. But thank you for reminding me. It's not BC. It's Safe Communities in Brooks, Alberta. I'll remember all these things once. Mark Anthony is Mark Anthony has a great question. Says, is motorcyclist practicing wheelies on private property allowed? Not under the new law that came out September 12th, 2021. And the deal is it's stunt driving. Stunt driving, and you could be charged on private property. Now, if you were on a closed circuit track, a motorcycle track, or a car racing track, where stunt driving is permitted, you're allowed to exceed the speed limit, you're allowed to do certain things, then it would be allowed there, but not on your driveway, not on your farm, not on your farmer's field. There's a whole bunch of things that private property now has the Highway Traffic Act extension into it. It's not the first charge to be included from the HTA onto private property, but it's the most recent change. Great question, and unfortunately for anyone who wants to do wheelies, it is illegal on the road and on private property. And Ryan Pinn, our friend from Nova Scotia, he's a driving instructor, and his wife is a social worker. Is she going to guest star? We can make this happen. Okay. Buster says, hired a lawyer to beat 3 tickets. Why do you have 3 tickets? Is it 3 tickets from one event, or is it 3 separate tickets? Because those things might be a clue that you need to change your driving behavior and not get tickets anymore. But what happens next? You hire a lawyer. They appear either in your absence or with you, depending on what your lawyer tells you to do. And then you see what happens. I don't know what I can tell you in terms of advice.
Are you ready? 4-lane road with painted median. Do you have to stop for a school bus in the opposite lane?
Painted median or a divided? So an undivided highway, one where it's a painted line, that's not a median, that's a line. If it's a line, you got to stop. If it's a median where it's a divider and cars and it is truly 2 separate sides of the road with divided by median, then you do not have to stop. It depends on the road, but painted median is a really confusing way of presenting it. I don't know. Is pineapple pizza is pineapple on pizza illegal? I grew up thinking that pizza and pineapple don't mix, and I don't normally put it there, but I've had it a number of times, and I have a strange appreciation for it on
I was
occasion.
about to say, are we gonna not be friends on this stream?
I don't order it. I actually had pizza last night. We decided we were going to be lazy and order pizza, and I did not get pineapple on my pizza. My one of my kids is currently all about mushrooms. The other one wants mushroom and pepperoni, and I got something with a whole lot of meat on it. But I didn't put pineapple on them, so it's not illegal. And I appreciate it, but I don't usually order it. It just maybe I should start. Maybe the next pizza I order is going to have pineapple on it, just because. Will insurance know if I get a speeding ticket? If you're convicted, they will. If you're suspended as a result of it, they will. They may not get an alert. I don't know how frequently they check their records or check your records. Certainly, when you're new, they check. But they can tell, yes. And any ticket, any conviction on your record could result in an increase in your rates. It's not just speeding over 15. It's not just points. It's anything. Let's see here. Big 31 wants to know, is it illegal? Is me carrying illegal gun illegal? So are you I love when it's a joke that's not funny. So you got an illegal gun and you're carrying it. Both are illegal. Give us your address. We'll come arrest you. Let me know when we can pick you up. Okay. Uh, are warnings and traffic stops documented? Yes, they are. They're saved in our system, and they are both. They don't affect your driver's license, but they do stay in our internal system. And if we give you another traffic stop and we see the warning, you may not get another warning. So uh, they don't affect your insurance. They don't find it. It's internal only. But yeah, that's your one warning, and you don't usually get two. Let's see here. Had cataract surgery, driver's license change? Question mark. If you now require or no longer require glasses, you can go into the ministry. You go into any of the Service Ontario's. Go in. They'll take your uh, either doctor's letter and or eye test and change your driver's license. Uh, but yeah, someone is spamming. Please stop. We have magical moderators who are doing their very best to keep it classy. If you are in the chat room and you are spamming, you are just bothering everybody else, and we don't appreciate it. So if you want to avoid being kicked out, which is an option, uh, just don't spam. Be a good human. Uh, Advice for individuals wanting to be auxiliaries: apply. There's nothing really that you need to do in preparation to becoming an auxiliary. I was an auxiliary. I did it for 12 years. I was an auxiliary sergeant when I left, and became a police officer. And it's a fantastic volunteer opportunity. So apply, apply, apply. Talk to other auxiliaries. If you can find any, they're just getting back out into stations in Toronto now. Talk to a police officer. If you want someone to talk to about what it is to be an auxiliary, I'm sure I can put you in touch with someone. Find on Twitter. There's a bunch of Toronto Police auxiliary accounts. You can ask auxiliaries about their experiences. I fully support and endorse the auxiliary program. I think it's the best way to volunteer in your community. And again, I did it for 12 years. It is fantastic.
There's two things that came up in chat. One I think you should address. A second one I'll ask again. If I sped and the police stopped me and show him my badge, he let me go. But I'm not a cop. I plan on being a cop though.
So you showed him a badge and he let you go. What badge did you show? Because impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense. So I'd be very wary of showing off your badge. What kind of badge do you have? Yeah. I don't know how to answer you. If you've just impersonated a police officer to get a benefit of some kind, you've committed an offense. Yeah, don't speed and don't pretend to be a police officer. Bad things can happen, like handcuffs in jail, and ruining your chances of becoming a police officer in the future.
Second question is how many mirrors? Yeah, how many mirrors do a motorcycle have to be legal?
One, you must have one mirror to the back, motorcycle or car, motor vehicle, truck. You have to have at least one view to the rear. Is it better to have two? Absolutely. But one is the legal requirement. In fact, I was going to say my buddy's Ford Fairlane back when we were kids. How old were we? My God, a long time ago. His only had one side mirror and one rear view mirror, but the law says one. Is the minimum. Do. Any others that are coming in from the chat?
Yeah, I was actually just typing it out to you, but I
Oh,
guess I'll ask you verbally now.
okay.
Do police officers need to wear masks during ride programs? How do they smell the alcohol?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. This is like question of the day. If I had a buzzer or some kind of jingle to play, this is it. So we are in ride season right now. We are actually what we call the ride program is underway, where we have enhanced rides all the way through the new year, and we no longer require, as of 2018, to have an odor of alcohol on your breath or an admission of consumption in order to test you with a roadside screening device. We can certainly still utilize those to develop suspicion, but we don't need it. We can simply employ something called mandatory alcohol screening. That's MAS. And it means that if you're the lucky contestant, you're number 5 or whatever I determined before I start my ride program, or my enforcement is I'm going to stop every red car, every blue car, every car, and I can make you provide a sample of your breath, period. If it's ride programs, it could be every car, it could be every other car, whatever the system is, I can make everyone who comes through provide a breath sample. And we find tons of impaired drivers this way. It's amazing. The requirement to sniff is off the table. We are not inhaling your excellent your air. We don't want your air. We don't want anyone to get sick. So yeah, that's the deal. We no longer require it. Now, if we do happen to smell it, because it's an overwhelming odor of alcohol, and we have observations of impairment, and you told us, yeah, you just finished a 2-4, yeah, we don't have to use mandatory alcohol screening. We would use suspicion or simply go by way of impaired. But those are your things. So thanks. That's a great question. Thanks so much. And please, if you're going to get behind the wheel of a car or conveyance of any kind, please do it sober. No drugs, no alcohol, period. It's not worth it. People get killed. Uh, Lives, families, communities are changed forever. It's horribly sad. And you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to have that guilt for the rest of your life knowing that you killed somebody or someone you love. So, okay. What do we got? Are police officers looking for at oh, here's a good question. Are police officers at ride programs looking for anything other than impaired driving? Generally speaking, we are just there for the purposes of ride. Now, if something is in our face and criminal, or extreme safety, that's a different story. Certain things, but generally speaking, if you drive through and you have a machine gun in your passenger seat, and we look inside, we're going to have some questions, even though our original intention was only to look at impairment. Certain things in plain sight are going to become an issue. So, hope that answers your question. It's a good question, I think. Um, what is oh, Akela Draconis has a D5600 Nikon because he hates cell phones. Listen, as a pro photographer, I totally appreciate that. I've got Canons, full frame. I've had all the way since the original Rebel, and film cameras. I love photography. I don't get to do very much of it anymore, but I really have appreciation for it, and I can totally relate to wanting to stay off cell phones. But I have cell phones in every pocket, and they tend to work in a jam. But I still use standalone cameras for all sorts of things, but they're tiny ones. I can't hold. I can't. I have I was injured in a motorcycle collision, so carrying all the big camera gear that I used to run around with 2 bodies with lenses and a belt. And anyway, long story stubby. I appreciate having a camera of some kind to capture the moment. Let's see here. Are amber lights and wheel wells illegal? No, I don't think that they are. I can't see any reason why an amber light would be illegal. An accent light that isn't projecting at high power, yeah, I think you're okay. Now, I would avoid, however, putting stuff on your on the tip. What do you call it? What is the stem? The valve stem. Don't use those cheap lights that turn on when you drive. They tend to corrode and become one with the valve stem, and when you need to get air, you can't. You have to cut it off and get a new one. So be careful with those. How long do I have to pay my speedy ticket? It depends. It depends if you've gone to court and you've been convicted. They'll tell you how many days you have to pay. If you need longer, you can ask the court for an extension. If you're just talking about how long do you have after you get your ticket, you need to file. I think you have 15 days. Okay. Who do I talk about driving the police bus? You want to drive the police bus? We have a couple of them, and you'd have to be a member of the police service. Uh, oh. Tinto Tosi says in Laval they have an amazing program, cameras on children's backpacks. I'd like to know more about that. Are ride-alongs back? So no, I don't think they are back yet. Right now, we're just bringing back our auxiliary officers. I'm sure at one point we will have ride-alongs again, but nothing going on as far as I know right now. Okay. Not. Oh, we got a couple questions in from Instagram. My bad. I'm not mean intentionally ignoring y'all. Um, what is the difference between a special constable and a police constable? Special constables, and I used to be one because while I was a auxiliary officer, I was also a court officer. So, an ex- a special constable is not a police officer. They have an expanded set of powers. They're sworn with expanded powers while they're working. So they take off their uniform, they go home. They're not special constables anymore. They are special constables when they're working, and those extra powers of arrest come into play when they're engaged in their lawful execution of their duties. Now, a police officer is a police officer 24/7. We have responsibilities related to being police officers, whether we're on duty or off duty, and that happens and right up until we retire or quit. That's the biggest difference. And we have expanded beyond that of a special constable. We have more power and responsibility. Has the cell phone law moved on to private property? Great question. No, it has not. Cell phone operation or use, the distracted driving laws, which you're referring to, only apply on the highway. Highway is any road in Ontario, but not private property. Great question. Now, if you were in a collision on private property while you were using your phone, and someone said, "Hey, I watched them using their phone," and it was somehow, corroborated, well, you know what? It's still no charge for it, but you would be held responsible for the collision. Okay. Do you think that special constables should be armed? That's a question from Mark Anthony on YouTube. I don't really have an opinion for it. I think if the service wanted to and thought they needed to be, then they would. I think the whole purpose of having special constables is having somebody who doesn't need to be armed and they're doing jobs that don't require firearms. So if you need to have a pew pew, you're a police officer, and I think that's probably the way it's intended. But I'm not part of the decision making process. But it is a discussion that's a good one. Okay. Blinker fluid. Oh, yes. Always a good reminder from Q. Check with your local parts store or mechanic. They might have suggestions about the best blinker fluid available on the market. Okay. Let's see here. Excuse me for a moment. A little cough. Sorry, Q.
There's a funny question.
Funny
Did you
questions are
read
good.
it?
Uh,
If an ambulance, police, and fire department reach a four-way stop at the same time, who goes first?
do you know what? That's a good question. And I'll tell you, whoever has their lights on, if they all have their lights on, um, you know what? I generally let everybody else go first because they're, boy, I've been talking for a long time. They are all going to save lives, and you know what, I want them to get there. So we'll direct traffic and let them go first. It all depends on who's priority, in a serious way. Chances are we're not all going to the same place at the same time and all having our lights on, but it's cute to think about. We should come up with an answer. Maybe that's the question I ask my sergeant to get him to be on camera doing the answer, because I'm sure he'll be as puzzled as I am to try and come up with an answer.
Ask a Sarge
Ask a
question
Sarge.
segment.
Yeah, I like it. Um, Someone wants to know, how do you prove someone's a legal person? Well, everyone's a legal person. Just look at them. They're legal. They're persons. Okay. Um, what is a scenario where I beat a speeding ticket? It's the ticket you never got issued because you weren't speeding. I don't have an answer for you. I write tickets. I issue them with the intention of convicting. I don't know what luck. Sometimes you get lucky. I don't know what to tell you. Do officers do pursuits on dirt bikes? We don't have dirt bikes. What's the difference between a verbal and a written warning? A pen. Uh, I like your questions. Actually, they're good. Yeah, the difference between a verbal and a written warning is simply that one has a record in the system and one does not. Verbal, as I said, don't do it again. That's it. It ends there. I said it. It's finished. A written warning means it goes into our system. Okay, dad joke Mondays. Hey, listen, dad jokes have a place in my heart. I'm a dad. Uh, should I leave my info if there's no damage? I'm assuming you mean you had a collision and there was no damage. So technically, a collision is only considered a motor vehicle collision is only considered a collision if there is either damage or injury. So there is no damage and no injury, um, but that you are aware of. What if you crack the inside of the bumper and there's damage that you're not aware of? You're always best to make contact. If someone witnessed it and left, then you are in a position where someone may report you to police for fail to remain, and that's a bad thing. Better off trying to make contact. Okay. We have got no more time. What? 10 o'clock. How do we do an hour and it's gone by so quickly? Big Jeff Fresh likes my answer about a pen. Uh, and Mark Anthony is suggesting that PC Pappy from 43 Division really needs to be a guest. I think you're right. I think you're right. He is a traffic man at heart, after all. Okay. I just want to see if there's any big zingers here, other than the fact that tomorrow the chief of the Toronto Police is going to be on our show. Not that I'm nervous having the biggest boss of all on TikTok with me. Not nervous at. Anyway, it's going to be awesome. So if you haven't already, put it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar. I'm going to set the event up right now. I forgot to do it today, but today, or for today's show, but for tomorrow's show, I'm doing it right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm hanging up. I'm going to go do that. That's what's happening. So with that, I'm sorry to not have answered all your questions. I know there's tons. We can keep doing this for hours and hours. But please go and follow Toronto Police at Toronto Police. We're hoping to get his account. I don't know if it's going to happen. Hoping to get his account ready for tomorrow with 1,000 followers so he can go live. And then he'd be co-hosting. Otherwise, he's got to use my personal account, which is VoiceOver Cop. You're welcome to watch that one as well. But we will be 10:15 tomorrow live there and on all the platforms other than Instagram. We'll be on all the platforms. Yes.
And we're sorry if we didn't get to your question today, but if you leave it in the comment section of any TikTok video, we'll try to get to it.
I spent all last night answering TikTok questions. Now, I've also been in discussion with TikTok wondering why is Q&A not working? Because it's not working. And as a result, if you make comments in videos, I'm checking. That's part of my day and my night and my morning before I get to work. I am constantly trying to answer your questions. So please feel free. And if you want a video response, I don't know, we can come up with a code, VR, put VR, and I'll try and do a video response. Otherwise, we'll get your answer quickly typed out and onto you. So yeah, put it in your calendar. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, we will not be live because we'll be preparing for the chief, but we will be live at 10:15 for about 30, 45 minutes. It's going to be a little different format, but hey, chief on TikTok, first time in the world, our chief in the world, in forever, in time. I don't know. He's going to be on TikTok, and I'm really excited. So with that, we're going to shut her down here on Instagram. And now, bye Instagram.
Bye, Instagram.
I think I already hung up on them. I think I ended it early. Oops. Well, I'll get better at this. And for everybody here on 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 TikTok, thank you for spending time with us. Follow us if you don't follow us. Come back and see us tomorrow. It's been a blast. It always is. And regular show on Thursday, but the Chief show is going to be awesome. Please come out and say hello. And that's it.
Bye, TikTok.
By TikTok. That sounds like a fragrance. A fragrance by TikTok. And hit that button. We're good. Okay, we are off there. 7,000 in the live. And what was our high? We had waiting for the math to come up. 641 people in the room at one time. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And what else can we say? We have had a fantastic time. Thank you so much for spending it with us. Ryan, always a pleasure. Big Jeff Fresh, Mark Anthony, Tinto Tozy, Pro Football Craze. We got to talk again about this. What are we talking about? I got to go back to the other question and remind myself what the other question I'm looking up is. Kayla Draconis, always a pleasure. We have Angela Topping, always. I felt hydrated as a result of your your comments. Much appreciated. And that's it. That's everybody. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We will see you tomorrow with the Chief. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.